Should I go for a job in marketing if I'm in sales now? Now, this should be a very simple question for most salespeople. Now, people go into sales for one of two reasons or a combination thereof. And everyone will fight me on this, but it boils down to these two things. One, they can't do anything else, meaning that they kind of floated into sales because they couldn't find another job. Or the other side, they're money motivated. They were attracted by commission, the control over their own income, their own ability to make money that is unlimited. Now, I've seen, and I work with marketing people today, I've seen quite a few people that were in sales move into marketing. Now, these people, I honestly don't consider salespeople. Now, let me tell you why. Marketing has kind of like the opposite approach to life and to work than sales does. Let me give you an example. Salespeople are all goal accomplishment oriented. They have to be. They have to get the order. Now, if you don't fit into that, you may still be in sales. You may like the commission. You may be willing to do the job. But typically, people don't get into sales if they can do something else and they're happy with the money. I was an engineer. I got into sales because I saw them living. They were making easily twice what I was making. And I was working a good 80 hours a week. I liked it, but no matter how hard I worked, my income just wouldn't budge. You'd have to change jobs, and you could only do that 2 or 3 years stints. Even though when I was doing it, there was lots of jobs, but we were very specialized, meaning certain programming languages, certain applications, and they were very degree focused back when I was doing it, as opposed to you couldn't really show your work as easily as you can today on the web. You could bring a disk in and you'd be like, hey, look at my algorithm. Woohoo. But once I saw the salespeople, better lifestyle and more money, I'm in, but it was a huge change. You don't get treated well. You get yelled at quite a bit. Hostile work environment is the norm. But then I saw the marketing people, and I work with marketing people today, and their motivation is much more quality over quantity, meaning that things are very polished. They'll spend a week, 2 weeks on a blog post. This is what most people do in their spare time, as opposed to salespeople who have to, they grind it every day. And I understand if you don't want to grind it, but in marketing, you don't have much of a variable, if any, on your income. You'll do well. You'll be treated well. The lifestyle, I think, is better. It is. But it's orthogonal, at the right angle of sales. Meaning I would never hire somebody out of marketing to go into sales who had been in sales before, because I would be like, why did you get out of sales? Because sales, typically the best people get addicted to it, either by the competition, the income, the thrill of it. All of that is very compelling to salespeople, to that culture, to that mindset. Marketing isn't like that. If you're into polishing up, beautiful content, if you're into strategy, if you're into kind of, figuring out the algorithms and the right marketing mix to get what you want, then you kind of know that. This is a question that should be obvious to people. And if you're not money motivated, you're typically not going to be happy in sales. Now, I get into this argument all the time online because it's not just money, okay? But ask yourself, if you had, 75% of your target income guaranteed and you just showed up and just put in whatever you felt was a solid effort, would you be happy in sales? I'd probably say no. What I always wanted was the upside, the magic, the beauty of something great happening that I worked really hard for, and that I had control over my income. I loved being, on the top, beating my competitors, winning deals, figuring out what to do. Now, if I had a straight salary, what that tends to do is you tend to do the opposite of the equation. You tend to think, how do I get the most out of this without getting in trouble? And, I do, a great marketing person is worth their weight in gold. I get that. But the best marketing people go and start their own agency. Why? Because they can have people type money, and risk and competition. And typically the people who work for companies in marketing are administrators of the marketing budget, where they're hiring people who do know how to market their product. And that's nothing wrong with that, and that's what they should do. But I think to be in sales and to be happy in sales, you have to be money motivated, because that's what the reward system is. And I hear a lot of CEOs say, well, we don't have salespeople. I go, you don't have people titled salespeople. The people who make things happen, the people who help customers, the people who expedite things, that compete, you may not want to call them salespeople or commission them, but that's what they do. If you don't pay commission, what you have is a bunch of smiling, nodding yes people. I've seen it at many companies. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's a delusion, meaning that the commission gets people involved, gets their emotions, gets their heart and soul into the game. And you want that, because the company is the best benefactor of that. Hey, so thanks for listening to this episode. To fill you in on the courses, there's two main ones right now. There's Start the Conversation, Get the Meeting. This is really at the top of the funnel. How do you get to outreach to cold opportunities in your total addressable market and start those conversations? Not pitching, but warming them up to the point where you can have a discussion. And it's a natural, organic way. I have a testimonial at the end of this. And if you want to check it out, go to b2brevenue.com, hit the training tab, and then you can schedule a call or just take a look at the courses. Please do your due diligence before you schedule a call. And please be serious. If you do schedule a call, time is precious. The other one is closing the complex sale. This is if you're running into trouble. Once you get the meeting, everything goes well, but the deal doesn't seem to close. It doesn't seem to go anywhere. They're not telling you no, but they're not obviously buying. I teach you how to manage this, how to control it, how to drive it, how to make things happen. Both courses you can pay per month. They're monthly payments. They're not subscriptions or memberships, or you can pay all at once. I've got a sample email that you can use in the show notes that you can cut and paste and send to your manager, see if they will expense it and approve it. But you really should invest in yourself, because these are the things that are going to make the difference in your income this year and the rest of your career. And if you want to talk about it, let's get on the phone and talk about it. If you like the podcast, it's probably a match. If you're listening to The Brutal Truth, I'd say if you haven't listened to at least 3 episodes, please do that first, just to make sure it's a good match for you. And it will certainly help you. Also, connect up with me on LinkedIn. And if you see my content on LinkedIn, I sure would appreciate a like, comment, and a share. Thanks for listening. Make sure you're checking out The Brutal Truth and the B2B Revenue Show as well.
I don't have a question, but I have a story.
Go for it.
So I'm talking to, we're doing account planning now and sort of targeting what opportunities we want to look at. And one, I only have 2 named accounts, and they're both like Fortune 500, Fortune 50 companies. And we're, someone has a sort of an inside track from former employees, and they find out about this possible really, really, really big opportunity, really big. And they said, yeah, our main problem is we think we know who we need to get in touch with to start a conversation with, but like nobody knows this guy. Nobody. He's a VP in a gigantic company, but nobody knows him. And they mentioned his name, and I say, what was his name? And I said, give me a minute. And I sort of go on mute for a while. And I go all the way back to the very beginning of when I started this course. And he's someone that I started a conversation with because something that I found on LinkedIn Navigator, and I didn't have anything to sell him, but he did a good job. So I sent it off to him. And so this morning I dug up that email thread, and I go back on the call. I say, I kind of know this guy. I think I could get a conversation started with him. We could get in front of him as early as next week. And it may end up being like the biggest sale of my career so far.